Welcome gardeners to another episode of Bricks Garden Book Lecture Series. So today let us discuss on crop diseases that are very prevalent in urban foodscapes and their sustainable management. So when we think of managing the diseases or the pests in our gardens, we need to understand the certain basics of growing them, and all these things that we have discussed in our previous episodes. If you have not watched our previous episodes, Bricks Bio on YouTube, I request you to watch that so that it is much easier for us to understand. In general, crop diseases are very prevalent in urban foodscapes during rainy season. During that time, generally you will see very high humidity and of course the warm temperature or little high temperature, and if the plants are not properly fed, if the nutrition is less, or there may be some varieties which are highly susceptible, particularly hybrids, and many times because of the shortage of space, that we keep the plants very dense. So then there will be the faster disease development or the quicker disease development. So in general, we get the fungal pathogens, the bacterial diseases, the virus diseases, and even nematode diseases. Of course, nematodes may not be that prevalent in urban gardens. So based on my experience of urban foodscapes, that let me just discuss on all those diseases which are very severe in urban foodscapes. The fungal diseases, mildews, very common, the powdery mildew or the downy mildew. Leaf spots are there, the Alternaria leaf spot, Cercospora leaf spot caused by the fungal pathogens. The wilts, Fusarium wilt, Verticillium wilt that we encounter in our gardens. Rots are there, fruit rots. Suddenly see if it starts raining or very cloudy, high humidity conditions, whatever fruits that you see, there could be a development of the disease on these fruits. The blights, early blight, late blight, particularly on Solanaceous, tomato, chili, brinjal, and these kind of crops. Rusts we see on beans and maybe the mustard, radish. So we see the leaf rust, stem rust, white rust, like that. Then molds, particularly the black sooty mold or grey mold that we will see on different type of crops in our urban foodscapes. So let us go one by one quickly. The diseases which are very common in urban foodscapes. The first and foremost, very important, very severe, is the powdery mildew on all different type of gourds, cucumbers, pumpkins. Of course, in the farmer's field, on grapes, it is a very severe disease. If you are growing grapes also, that you have to be careful about the powdery mildew. So initially, that on the leaves that you will see some maybe discolored, light, or maybe little yellowish spots on the upper surface. When you see from the upper surface, you have to be observing on your plants on a regular basis. Then you can make out. So if you are not observing, then suddenly there will be disease development. Probably you will see a very severe situation, and managing will be very difficult. So that you need to understand. So the pale yellow leaf spots, suddenly there will be development of the white powdery spots on both sides of the leaves, on the upper surface as well as under surface. So it can be so severe. So if you just touch your fingers, so you can just make out the cottony growth or the hyphal growth on the upper surface or the lower surface of the leaves. That is possible, and you can easily make out. And once it is severe, that it covers the leaves, it covers the stem, it reaches the fruiting bodies, and there can be very severe loss of yields, and of course, so sometimes that we have noticed, or it is reported, that it can lead to premature ripening of fruits. So that way, on different type of crops, that what I suggested, so they are severe in urban foodscapes, that we have to be observant. Another disease which is quite common on again on gourds, on pumpkins, and on grapes is the downy mildew. So this again, the light green to yellow spots that we will see to start with on the leaves. But to probably to differentiate from the powdery mildew to the downy mildew, that you will see these spots are bounded or surrounded by the leaf veins. and on the upper surface that you can just make out the spots very clearly, and that turns into a brown spot as the disease progress. So that way, so you have to keep observing on the leaves during rainy season, particularly during rainy season. Many of these fungal diseases or other diseases also, they are very prevalent during rainy season, that we have to be careful and keep taking some measures that we will discuss. Then see this severity of the disease on grapes. So the downy mildew and of course powdery mildew, both are very severe in the farmer's field. If you are growing them in our urban gardens also, that you will see the severity of the disease. So grapes, groats, cucumber, watermelon, squash, pumpkin, spinach, corn, or even maybe the basil. See, all these, even sometimes the other vegetable crops, that you will see both powdery mildew as well as downy mildew. Then leaf spot, very common disease, may not be that severe, but there will be prevalent depending upon the conditions available in your garden. So you will make out the circular spot on the leaves. There are different fungal species that cause the disease, the Alternaria, maybe Cercospora. Depending upon their damage, there can be little variation in symptoms, but in general they are the circular leaf spots. So center generally dries and probably it falls off. There will be a small holes, maybe kind of short holes on the leaves that you can clearly make out. So and this can be sometimes that maybe the yield reducing factors, particularly when you are consuming leaves like palak and other leafy vegetables. So leaf spot can be very severe. On other plants where the fruits or the flowers are the economic material, so you may not be thinking that it is that severe, but on the leafy vegetables, yes, they can be very severe in our gardens. And it can affect again chili, tomato, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, spinach, beetroot, like that you will see the leaf spots on different crop plants in our urban foodscapes. Fruit rot is also very severe. So particularly when the fruit comes in contact with the soil, so that because of rain splash or whenever you are putting water on the soil, the fungal spores which is there in the soil can probably reach to the fruit and cause the disease during rainy season. That it is very common. And when you see so many fruits, and you have to be careful to protect the fruits, otherwise there can be disease development on gourds, cucumber. Suddenly all the fruits will develop some black color, some fungal growth, and it can fall off as the disease progress. Stem rots or the maybe neck blights. So, these are all different type of the names that depending upon the type of crop that we are growing. So basically that you will see the infection at the collar region. Collar region is that the region where the plant emerges out of the soil. So that region, that sometimes that there will be fungal infections, and the upper portion wilts, bends, or dies. So you will see this kind of severity of the disease in onion, tomato, and of course some other diseases, some other plants as well. Then the wilt. See, fungal wilt is also very common, particularly the quick wilt. So the maybe caused by Phytophthora or some other type of even Fusarium. So you will be seeing or you have seen your plant very nicely, very healthy yesterday morning or yesterday evening. So suddenly next day morning that you will see the plant is wilting. So that is because of the quick development of or the quick probably the disease. The pathogen is causing the disease so quickly, so that your plant is affected, and within no time, within 24 hours, that it can cause the plant to wilt. And once the wilt happens, no, it is very difficult to recover the plant. Only thing you can avoid the spread of the pathogen, but it is very difficult to recover the same plant. So you have to be very observant in your garden. Blights, the late blights as well as early blights, that generally very common in tomato, very common in potato. So you will see the infection starting from the leaves, and it spreads very fast on the stem, on the fruits, and it can be a very severe yield reducing factor in tomato, potato, even sometimes in chili and other crops as well, the solanaceous plants. So you have to be observing this plants as well for this disease. Rust, not very common, but see, whenever you are growing the mustard, whenever you are growing radish, or sometimes on beans, maybe your cowpeas, the bush beans, or the creeper beans, or feed beans. So rust that you can just make out if you just touch on the surface. It is in the elevated or the slightly raised spots. So you can just make out it is a rough surface, and suddenly the white spots turn into maybe a brown spot, and the spores will be emerging from the spots, and it is spread through the air. So beans, tomato, mustard, radish, and sometimes roses, they are highly susceptible, and you can expect the rust disease on these crops. Sooty mold, generally this sooty mold that we have or we have observed or we have seen, and I have discussed in the previous episode as well when I was discussing about the sucking pests damage. So they suck the sap and secrete the honeydew. On that honeydew the sooty mold develop. But sooty mold, as it as a pathogen also, that it is the fungus is a very severe problem sometimes, especially during humid cold seasons. So if it is very damp weather, so during that time the sooty mold can develop on different plant parts, and of course it can be an yield reducing factor as well. Otherwise the quality of the produce is very much reduced, and you will see commonly on lime, lemon, onion, that you can just make out. Some of the bacterial diseases are also very prevalent in urban foodscapes, like leaf spots, canker, blight, wilt, like that, depending upon the type of pathogens that we see in our urban gardens. Leaf spots, see, like fungal leaf spots, bacteria also can cause leaf spots, the circular spots sometimes. So similarly that there will be some kind of the necrotic or chlorotic spots on the leaves. The center portion will dry and there can be short holes, and you will see this kind of disease in cauliflower, cabbage, ivy gourd, mango, and of course other plants as well. The canker is another severe bacterial disease that what we see, may not be that severe, but we encounter this disease as well. So initially the symptoms start as a raised white spots on leaves, stems and fruits, but as it progress, there could be gummosis, the oozing of the bacterial sap from the stem and from the fruits. So that can be probably reduce the yield and may not be the good quality, or the reduce the quality of the fruit and the yield. So you will see this kind of cankers on tomato, capsicum, chilies, lime, so of course other crops as well. The third set of very important plant pathogens that we see, or the plant diseases in urban foodscapes, is the viral diseases, maybe mosaics, leaf curl, bunchy top, of course the other types as well. I have listed only the main type of viral diseases. The mosaics, very common on some of these vegetables like bendi, cucumber. So you can easily make out that the vein clearing in mosaics is a very typical characteristic symptoms in the mosaics, where the yellowing is all along the leaf veins and there will be green patches. So of course if the disease is very severe, that you can make out maybe deformed fruits, the leaves and others, they may be little curling, and this kind of symptoms are always there. But basically, to start with, that it is an yellow and green patches on the leaves. Then little leaf or leaf curl is another common viral disease on chili, on capsicums, on hibiscus, on maybe brinjal. So you will see this disease, this viral disease, whenever there is an incidence of lots and lots of vectors like aphids, thrips, You have to always keep observing the curling of leaves, maybe upward curling, the inward curling. So this is the very common symptom of the viral diseases. Bunchy top, particularly if you are growing banana in containers or in small spaces, maybe kitchen gardens. See, from one common point many leaves will be coming, so a kind of rosette appearance. So that is the problem in banana, where aphids are the vectors. The banana aphids are the vectors of this viral disease. Papaya mosaic, papaya ring spot. So this kind of virus also that we will see in our gardens, particularly the yellow and green patches and the narrow leaves, the elongated the leaf margins or leaf surface. That is a typical symptom of the ring spot disease in papaya, and again transmitted by mostly by the vectors. So based on our experience at Biological Research Innovation Center and Solutions on various aspects of these kind of diseases or the pests in urban gardens, that I have tried to explain the sustainable management practices that are very useful in urban gardening. In the previous episode only, that I discussed about the good growing conditions for managing the insect pests. The diseases are also almost same, so they are also pests, and you have to provide good growing conditions, maybe in terms of the light, in terms of water, in terms of maybe the support systems, or in terms of plant nutrition, all these things. So quickly let me just list out. The clean cultivation is very important. Proper staking that you have to provide, otherwise there will be huge humidity buildup in the crop system, and there can be the higher or the more disease development. So that is very important. Healthy seeds, local natty seeds, hybrids are many times susceptible for diseases. So you should look for the resistant, tolerant, local types. Of course, if the hybrids are also there, that you should look for the resistant types, tolerant types, the right size of containers, and you have to maintain proper spacing, particularly during rainy season. If there is too much of humidity outside, you have to space out the containers in such a manner that there is very easy movement of air in the garden spaces. Then good light condition that you have to provide. Mulching apart from conserving moisture, that it helps in avoiding the splashing of the plant pathogen from the soil to or the growing medium to the plant or the fruit. So that is that helps in avoiding the disease or the spread of the disease. Regular, enough and right time watering, that is also very important. So watering makes the plants very tolerant. Proper drainage, the waterlogging can cause the wilt, waterlogging can cause the rots. So you have to maintain the proper drainage. It is very important. Good growing condition. Crop rotation if feasible, because the growing medium can harbor the common pathogens which can cause the disease in the next season, and the balanced plant nutrients. So these are all important good growing conditions. If you have not watched our previous episode, please watch that. I have explained all these things in detail. And coming to balanced nutrition, I am repeating because that the different type of nutrients are to be in balanced manner. So it is better to mix the animal component, the vermicompost, the coco peat or the leaf manure, or the soil, along with little bit of plant cakes, the biofertilizers, rock phosphate, biopesticides or biofungicides. So that is very important, like trichoderma, pseudomonas. These are very good biofungicides which can develop on other fungi or the plant pathogenic fungi or plant pathogenic other type of plant pathogens. So it is easier or the easier practice to mix these biofungicides in the growing medium, so that disease development can be reduced. So that is very important for us as urban gardeners. Look for trichoderma and mix in our growing medium. Whenever you are going to the garden, go with a cicature so that you can remove the affected plant parts, maybe in a leaf with powdery mildew, or maybe the shoot with wilt, or any other type of plant pathogen or any other pests. So keep removing, and as an as a scientist or as a plant pathology specialist, that I can suggest that you should just remove and burn it. Then you have to keep spraying. So spraying is very important. At least once in 7 to 10 days that you may have to spray the crop plants, so that you will have an healthy garden. To start with, maybe soapnet and shikakai spray, so that it can remove some of these fungal spores from the plant, or you can drench the plant base, the medium, so that certain particularly the wilt causing, the root rot, the fungus can be managed with the soapnet and shikakai extract, or sometimes even the sweet flag rhizome extract can manage some of these fungal spores. Keep adding. The biopesticides, as I was telling you, Trichoderma, Pseudomonas fluorescens and other things can be sprayed at the water soluble or the water miscible formulations are available today. So at 1 gram or 1 ml per liter of water, that you can mix and spray on the plants, so that the certain plant pathogenic diseases can be managed. And the combination botanicals with different type of plants, say they have the active ingredients which can have effect on plant pathogens, maybe fungus or bacteria. So you can collect them, maybe the neem seeds or the vinca leaves, vitex leaves, adatoda leaves, the tulsi, or maybe sweet flag. All these botanicals are having active ingredients, active principles that are effective on plant pathogens. You can try to get them and mix them as extracts and spray on the plants. It is in that you have to learn and do it. Or otherwise, that you can consider using Sasya Rakshak, so which is again made out of 10 different type of botanicals for managing the insect pests as well as the plant pathogens. So it is always available, that you can readily available. You can use it at the rate of 5 ml per liter. The Mycodim is designed for managing the diseases like the powdery mildew, downy mildew, and certain leaf spots and other things, made out of all those ingredients which are acceptable in organic farming. So you can dissolve 5 grams of Mycodim in a liter of water and keep at least once in a month during rainy season, because during rainy season that you will see the prevalence of these plant pathogens, and keep spraying, so that your plants are protected from diseases. So that way I suggested so many methods, but if you look at an integrated or a sustainable management strategy, including the materials or the sprays which are required for managing the insects, that you can consider this particular spray, maybe to start with a shikakai or a soapnet extract at 5%, Sasya Rakshak at the rate of 5 ml per liter, Neem Shakti 5 ml per liter. Neem Shakti is required to manage certain vectors, certain insects on the plants. Chili ginger garlic extract, so garlic and onion, they have sulfur, and sulfur is very useful to manage the mildews. Hing in buttermilk or Sasya Rakshak at 5 ml per liter. Lecanicerium lecani is very good for the vector management, or the white flies and aphids and thrips, these kind of insects. And Pseudomonas fluorescens can be used for managing the plant pathogens. So, or sometimes even the Neem Shakti, you can consider which one of that, and Mycodim at the rate of 5 gram per liter. So that way, so if you schedule out all these kind of sprays in a systematic manner, to making sure that at least once in a week the plants are sprayed with one of these kind of materials, so you can have a healthy garden, and you have to repeat the schedule. So there are many chemical fungicides and the pesticides should be available, but that is not the purpose of urban foodscapes, that you have to use all those natural, biological, and of course eco-friendly methods for managing these plant pathogens. In the previous episode that I discussed about the insect pests and its management, today we have learnt about the plant pathogens that cause diseases in the crops of urban foodscapes and its sustainable management. To be very frank, see the insect pests, the plant pathogens are to be managed in an integrated manner, and you have to follow a kind of schedule to manage them properly in urban gardens. So that's what is there in this episode as well as in the previous episode. I request you to subscribe our YouTube channel Brix Bio, keep watching and for the updates as well. Thank you for watching this episode.